Remind me of your name again, sorry?
Okay, I'm Stephen Tate.
Stephen Tate.
Born and bred in Western Australia and just returned after 40 years.
Wow. Just returned from the eastern states?
From the world.
Beautiful.
So left here, went to Canberra to do some law after studying at Murdoch.
Yep.
And then I decided that I didn't really want to be a lawyer because I was actually dating the newsreader at Channel 10 at the time.
Okay.
So I thought maybe I do want to be in media. And so I took off for London because I had a British passport through Dad.
Yep.
Managed pubs there, worked my way up from the bottom, got a job as a runner.
Yep.
At London Weekend Television, which is part of now ITV.
Yeah.
In what was called the Portable Single Camera Unit. So my job was putting together the kits for the camera crews before they went out.
Yep.
And it was quite confronting because, I was a young guy and it was a big technical job and I didn't really know what I was doing. And we had some, interesting stuff happen. I was there when I had to run kit across the river, across the Thames, when Thatcher was kicked out of Parliament.
So let's break this down a bit more. So you were part of the on-site recording of news.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I started.
Yep.
But my real start was here in WA,
right?
Studying communications at Murdoch.
Okay.
I got a great foundation there. They were brilliant.
Yep.
The access to equipment was fantastic. And also there's something about being in WA where you're so far away from the rest of the world, you kind of feel like you can take risks and get away with it.
I love that. I agree.
I started a theatre company with my then girlfriend called the Pagan Heart Theatre Company. We put on 2 productions in Fremantle. And, we didn't lose our shirts, but we didn't make any money, but we did stuff.
Yeah.
And we hung with, people that were going to Whopper at the time, people like Nicky Went and Marcus Graham, people like that.
Okay.
And, we were all in share houses. It was really good fun.
Yeah.
And then I got bitten by radio. I really, really, really wanted to work in radio.
Yep.
I still love radio.
What decade are we talking here?
1932. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No. I'm kidding.
Just because I'm trying to picture.
No, it was
radio would have been a popular media.
It was the 80s.
Right.
Okay. So I got a job with 6UVS FM. I was the only paid radio student for Murdoch. So it actually helped me, with my tertiary education at the time.
Yeah.
I helped start a radio show called Radio Homegrown, which, predated Triple J.
Yep.
Just recording WA bands.
That's crazy.
Which was fun. It was really good fun. And then I got my first commercial radio job. You send your cassette out to all of the country stations.
Yeah.
And I got picked up by 6KA in Karratha.
Okay.
As the night announcer.
Interesting.
No training.
Yeah.
On the tools the first night. Couldn't operate a desk.
Yep.
It was probably the worst piece of radio anybody's ever heard in their lives.
Yeah. Luckily, it was in Karratha.
It was in Karratha.
Yeah,
so
there's only 35 people listening.
Yeah. Well, no, funnily enough, we used to have listeners in like Malaysia and Singapore because when the cloud cover was right, the radio signal would skip.
Really?
The radio waves would actually literally skip across the ocean.
Wow.
And because I was doing a request show, I'd actually get calls from overseas.
Wow. Is this AM or FM?
It was, AM, I think. Can't even remember. Can't remember. Isn't that terrible? Anyway, you'd be left in the station on your own. I would have been, 19? I'll never forget there was a cyclone that came through.
Yep.
And I'm there on my own with the equivalent of the SES calling me to tell me what code we had to go to next.
Oh, and you tell them over the air?
Yeah, and then I would tell the community because there's only 2 stations up there. There was us and the ABC.
Oh, you're like a vital link in the chain of...
Yeah, you were. You did. Then you realised the power of what you were doing.
Yeah.
Until the power goes out and you're on your own.
Yeah.
And you have to go out into the cyclone and pull start the Jenny.
Yeah, wow.
To stay on air.
Yep. That's crazy.
It was great. And then I thought, okay, this, radio's great, but television's my actual love. I'm very visual in the way I work.
Yep.
And there was no industry in WA that I was going to be able to, do anything with. My first television credit was still part of when I was studying at Murdoch.
Okay.
We did the Tempest in Bali. So
Tempest in Bali.
Yeah, so we took Shakespeare's play, The Tempest,
Yeah.
and a bunch of students, and we went over to Bali and we performed it in villages. We went around villages in open trucks.
Interesting.
Performing in High Balinese, which at the time was a banned language.
Is this before the
This was in about 1984, 85.
This is before Bali is what we know as Bali now. Like it feels.
It was right at the beginning where tourism wasn't massive there.
Yeah.
It was, and it was actually my first executive producer credit, which was ridiculous, because essentially all I did was spend most of my time at the embassy trying to find lost passports, because most of my cast and crew would get on the mushrooms and and lose them.
Yeah,
and I'd have to go find
what a job,
their
eh?
stuff.
Yeah, you're trying what's your name again? I don't know.
Yeah. But it was I forget that honestly, the day we arrived, we turned up with this beautiful set that we'd created that was inspired by shadow puppetry.
Okay.
It was a big part of the play, and a big part of The Tempest, if you know the play, is the fact that there's a monster.
Right.
And so the Balinese loved it because of all of Shakespeare's plays, it has the most magic in it.
Right.
And then for them to be hearing it in a language that was trying to be stamped out by Suharto at the time.
Had another layer of depth to it.
And we were performing on these hard red concrete open stages, which we found out later were cockfighting rings.
Wow.
We were performing on sand and blood.
Yeah.
It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And so we did that for nearly a month. Nobody died.
Yep.
We came home and we actually shot a doco about it at the time.
Yep.
And SBS picked it up. So it was my very first television credit, was The Tempest in Bali.
Interesting. So it wasn't a direct performance, it was sort of a byproduct of the performance.
It was a documentary about the play and
beautiful
the process. And so that then sort of gave me the impetus to go, actually I can probably do this. And I took off for London, and like I said, started right at the beginning and learnt my craft in edit suites and watching crews come and go.
Yep.
And I was fortunate to have some really generous people. And if you're starting out in television or any form of radio or any storytelling, be where the story comes together and you'll learn everything. So the edit suite is basically where all the mistakes get fixed.
Yep.
And if you are observant and you learn from that, you save yourself a lot of trouble in the long run.
Yeah, I hear. I feel like you have to have that opportunistic sort of scope for everything.
Look, the way television is made now can't sustain, and it isn't sustaining. Okay, so the model, and I know we're jumping all over the place, but just jumping right forward to where we are now. If I go back to the way I was trained, when I was a researcher in London, I had to write a paper cut and have it signed off by my executive producer before I went out with the crew.
Yeah.
And if I didn't bring that back cut for cut, I would be in trouble. So
essentially, this is your copy had to be predetermined,
which doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
And then not only that, I would follow the cut through. So I would take the material that I'd shot. I would then go to the edit. I would oversee the edit. I would oversee the sound. I would oversee the colour. Grade.
It's essentially your production.
Yeah, nobody's doing this anymore.
Right. It's like broken down into...
It's siloed.
Yeah, okay.
And so people aren't learning the craft properly anymore.
Yep.
And it's costing money. So what happens now is like I set up Survivor in this country. I set up Idol. I set up I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. You know, and the way those shows are shot is it's almost obscene how much data is collected.
I always
never
think
sees
this.
the light of day.
Like Survivor's a good example. Tell me those cameras aren't rolling, multiple cameras, 24/7.
They are though.
You know?
They're not as many cameras as you'd think. Tribal Council has, you know, probably 12 cameras.
Yeah, because you're doing these ones. Yeah.
But the beaches usually only have two cameras, but over a 24-hour period.
Yep.
So there's basically 4 crews doing the 2 beaches for the 2 tribes.
Yep.
So that's a little bit more manageable.
And
but they are shooting constantly.
Yeah.
And
who's the poor soul back in the day before AI who had to sit there and, nah, that's no good. We'll keep that. That's no good.
They're called loggers, and in these days they still exist.
Yep.
So I do I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. I did the first 8 seasons of that. I've spent a year of my life in Africa working on that show.
Wow.
And we have like 2 rows of loggers in the back, live logging, in the same way that they do on Big Brother when it's live.
So live logging, tell me what's that? What's that process? Is that someone actively going,
flagging content.
this is no good, this is good?
Yes, there's that, but also indicating storylines and where things can cross over.
Okay.
And then you have what's called an A stream and a B stream. So you've got 2 directors.
Yep.
And as the stories intersect, they hand over to each other, and then they'll go off and follow something else.
Right.
And so that's how the 24-hour coverage happens.
Right.
But the amount of data that is collected, you know, it's where the money goes, essentially.
Okay, I got a question for you. How many storylines can you make? Because obviously, like Survivor there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens, and then there is a story that's told from what happens to make it the most entertaining, to make it valuable to the audience.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, in a season of Survivor, you might go, there's this real big drama between person X and person Y, and we really like that, and they get eliminated, and and then maybe one of those. There must be dozens of directions.
My feeling is that Survivor is the most perfect format that was ever created in the reality sense.
Wow.
It is
huge statement. That's cool.
It is a pure format when it's trusted.
Okay.
You've got to trust the format with Survivor, and you've got to let those people play their game, and you cannot step on their toes.
Right.
And the danger with Survivor, and I see it from time to time, on not necessarily on Australian versions, but on other versions, is that you can see that the producers play favourites because somebody is popular, and you can see that it can be manipulated.
Right.
You know, an idol can be dropped in front of somebody's face, right? You know, to ensure that they're saved.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that happens on Australian Survivor, and certainly it never did when I was across it.
Yep.
Because I trust the format. It's a pure format. It's a human game. It's a game we actually all play in life.
Yeah.
Particularly in television.
I think the survival thing, like now more than ever, people are actually feeling what it means to survive, to live paycheck to paycheck. And Survivor is such an amplified version of that, where it's literally like you're cold, there's a storm, there's these challenges, you know, you're hungry. So I think it's very raw.
But then you know what becomes important?
What's that?
Alliance.
Oh, the connections.
And alliance in life is community.
Okay.
And so, I'm working on a show with Jess Eva at the moment, who is The Block. And Jess has created the only renovation show that is community-based on Australian television. So it's coming up on 9 later this year.
Yep.
It's a whole house renovated for a worthy family in 5 days for $10,000.
Wow.
How do you do it?
Yeah, dude, I quite to get my walls painted the other day. It was like $8,000.
How do you do it? Community.
Yeah.
And so basically, you know, she will select a worthy house and householder.
Yep.
And then the call will go out to people to volunteer their time, and it's, you know, often it's in places like Lismore, where there's been floods, or or somebody's been dealing with a health crisis, or somebody's just a really good person and deserves it. Often there's mental health issues, which helping people just clear clutter out of their house has a huge impact on them. And these are really beautiful stories, and it's not about profit. It's not about the block and shows like that are all about how much money can we make out of real estate. This is about changing somebody's life just by improving their living environment. It's a really beautiful show, and I really wanted to do well with it.
What's your involvement with that? Are you in the production side?
I've been since I left 10/Paramount. There's a few people I've been mentoring, which I get a lot of satisfaction from. And Jess is one of them. She's somebody that I see real potential in. When I cast, and casting is really what I do.
Okay.
If I talk about the heart of really what I do in my career, it's always been casting. It's been putting together people to get the right kind of
interesting
story told.
And did that start? Do you have any role in casting members of Survivor?
Yeah, I did the first 4 seasons.
Really?
Yeah.
So you would have been sifting through hundreds, thousands.
I also did the first 8 seasons of Idol.
Wow.
I remember the very first day of Australian Idol, which we started in Adelaide.
Yeah. What year were we talking here? Early 2000s?
It was end of 2002, went to air in 2003.
Wow.
So
I remember this.
I can remember we turned up in Adelaide. We put out the call. We had no idea who or how many people would turn up. I got a call at 4 o'clock in the morning from Emmanuel Matsos, who was the line producer. Who's
people lining up around the block.
Emmanuel is a bit of a panicker, right? Because his job is security and making sure everybody's safe and everybody's looked after. And he said, "Stephen, we've got a problem." And I went down and I went, "This is a champagne problem." We had a queue for blocks and blocks.
I remember this being in the news.
Yeah, because that was me.
Yeah.
I picked up the phone to my boss and I said, "We need to put a news chopper up so that we can see the size of this queue."
Also publicity.
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
of course.
Naturally.
So anyway, what I used to do is I would actually walk the queue in every city.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether, and we did a lot of things wrong in the first seasons of Idol, so I won't pretend it was all right. I don't like the humiliation angle of it. The sort of people that were put in front of cameras that couldn't sing.
Interesting.
I never liked that, but that was part of the format, and we were told to do it at the time.
Also, it's super Aussie.
We got rid of it.
Yeah, it was actually. I get you're not allowed to say that it was cool. I'm going to say that it was interesting enough that you would watch it, because I remember watching my mum and dad. You'd be like, "Oh, they suck,"
Yeah, I know, but some of them were damaged by it, and that's not good entertainment.
Okay. Yeah.
If they were in on the game and they were there for a bit of a laugh, they were larrikins and they turn up in a tutu and they just want to get on telly, fine. But when they're delusional and have been told that they have talent and they don't, that's unfair.
You're the real world and the real world's on camera and Australia. It's not great. Yeah, I get it.
But anyway, used to walk the queue, and I can tell you can see charisma. Regardless of whether people can sing or not, you can see it. People have presence.
Yep.
And I can remember walking the queue that day and seeing Guy Sebastian.
Really?
On day one, standing there, quiet, just running vocal warm ups, and you could hear that incredible voice. And I just went, he's going to win. And he hadn't even got in front of the judges at that point.
Wow.
And then we had a problem because that's what the judges thought as well. Mark, Marsha, and Dicko. The moment they saw him, they went, "Game's over. There's our winner. He did Ribbon in the Sky, Stevie Wonder. Oh my God!" And then we literally had to hide him. Like we had to, in a way.
Yeah, you have to sort of choke it
balance,
back a bit.
Balance him, because otherwise it's a one-horse race for the show.
Was that, remind me, that was like Shannon Knoll versus Guy Sebastian? That was the year?
Oh, and the huge Cosima, who's a Perth girl,
Wait, didn't you have
Cosima DeVito had
the rich dad that was telling his employees to vote for her or something?
No. That was somebody else, and I won't go there because that's litigious.
Okay.
But that did happen. But we fixed it.
Yeah.
We put an algorithm into the phone lines so that we could balance the votes.
To make sure that it was,
so that you couldn't buy a win.
Yeah.
Like that.
Interesting.
But anyway, that was years later.
Yeah.
No, Cosima, sadly, developed nodules. And she was medically exempt from the competition, which basically meant a bunch of people had voted for her, but their votes didn't count because she wasn't able to continue.
Wow!
So we had to refund all of those.
Refund the votes.
55-cent votes.
Wow!
And the other really cool thing is because I was one of I think 3 or 4 people that were privy to the vote.
Yep.
Could actually see the vote live. Guy Sebastian's winning vote at the Opera House was 1 million votes.
1 million?
1 million votes at
Really?
55 cents for Guy Sebastian alone.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
This
is mums and dads and kids.
Yeah. It's
paying
like
55 cents because they believed in him.
That's bizarre.
Wouldn't happen today.
So tell me, just so I'm clear on this, how many votes in total are you saying come in?
Oh, for that series, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. From beginning to end, look, I can't remember the exact number, but it was in the tens of millions.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
Like you're talking such a huge percentage of Australia. I mean, at the time, what are we talking?
The audiences were nudging 3 million. We were up in the high 2s.
Wow.
In fact, I think the Idol finale for both 1 and 2 were still in the top 10 entertainment shows of all time.
So tell me, from the business point of view, the 55-cent votes, obviously it's not the carriers making all that money. Does Idol make some of that money, or is it just the carriers?
It's largely the carriers.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So the money that's being made is your ability to sell it to the channel for them to be able to put advertisements in there.
So the people that took a cut of the telco revenue were the production company.
Yep.
I don't think the network got anything. I don't think we got anything.
Yep.
I think we got our costs covered because we were the ones that had to carry the license, and I had to police personally. I had to police that it was all above board.
Yeah.
And we were working with a company I think called Legion at the time, who helped us manage it.
Yep.
The one thing I can say is when you work on a show that has a public vote, it's something that you have to take so incredibly seriously because people are putting their trust in you.
Oh, 100%.
That their vote will count.
Yeah.
And so anything at all that calls into question whether a vote is valid or not is a real risk.
Right. Yeah, that's it's just hard to imagine before Idol, was there anything existing that had that sort of participation from the audience? Oh, right. So you were sort of...
I executive produced that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I didn't do the first one. I did the first Celebrity Big Brother.
Yep.
So at the time, we were looking at doing I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And I said to my boss at the time, well, we've just established Big Brother. Why wouldn't we just do a Celebrity Big Brother? Why would we pay for another franchise?
Yeah.
And so we did Celebrity Big Brother, and I cast it. I put Kyle Sandilands in there. I put the late Adriana Xenides in there. I put Dylan Lewis in there, who won it.
So crazy. I'm having like flashbacks the more you talk. Like all these early childhood memories of sitting there, mum and dad watching these. Because that was all, everything you're talking about is that 7:30 to 8:30 time slot, isn't it?
Yeah. So
it's like
prime time is considered. Prime time in Australia is considered sort of 6 to 9:30.
Okay.
And that's where most of the advertising dollars come from.
Yep.
But 7:30 that is the sweet spot for revenue.
Is it still Neighbours and Home and Away at 7?
No.
No?
And not no. Oh, well, Home and Away, yes. And that is, you really do have to applaud what they've achieved there.
Yeah.
Neighbours is still going, but as you know, it went off for a little while and it's now coming back.
Okay. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, news.
Yeah, no, it had a...
Dude, I haven't heard free to air for like 10 years.
I know.
Like, it's a different world now, you know?
Well, look, the fact is free-to-air is still an incredibly powerful vehicle. And there's something I'm really concerned about, actually. And I actually gave an interview about this week. Two things I'm really concerned about. The first is the death of journalism globally.
Okay. Agree, yeah. Do you want to expand on that for me?
Yeah. The outlets are shrinking. The ability to reach people in a way that is regulated is disappearing.
Right.
So opinion is now being passed off as journalism.
Yes.
And you know that's and what's happening in America is a prime example of that. I was actually very proud of the way Australia voted for this last
election,
general election.
Yep.
It was a very clear knee-jerk reaction against what was happening in America, and I can't believe, frankly, that our conservative politics followed the songbook of Trump, and I'm very proud that Australia voted against it. You know, I just think I think there is real danger in our leaders not being able to be held to account, and with you look at what's happened. The ABC is just axed Q&A. 10 has just axed the project.
Really?
There's a real danger that we could end up with a duopoly of two commercial networks only in this country, and they're both pretty right-wing.
So that sort of sounds like, in general, they're getting rid of open dialogue. The idea that you can question and answer and question and answer. It sounds more it's going to just like statement. This is how it is.
That's what's happening online, and that is completely unregulated. And also with AI and deepfake and all of that kind of stuff, we're in a dangerous place.
Yeah.
And so we need trusted voices, and we need to pay those trusted voices so that they can survive.
Right.
And there's very few places that are doing that anymore.
Yep.
And so, you know, when I see, people criticised the project because they said it was predictable. They said, you know that they're going to have a left-wing position.
Right.
I'm sorry. You know the political position of every newsletter out.
Well, that's the idea.
And it's a cheap shot.
You go to your preferred colour or symbol, right?
Yeah.
That's
you hear what you want to hear.
Yeah.
But the fact is you can hear what you want to hear.
Yeah.
What's a real danger now is journalism. It needs to be supported as because they're the canaries in our coal mine. They're the ones that are actually asking the questions objectively and seeking truth, as opposed to espousing opinion.
Yeah.
Which is just dangerous.
Are you talking about the difference between a journalist and someone who reads a teleprompter?
No. In fact, some of the people who read teleprompters are some of the most intelligent people I know.
Okay.
Sandra Sully is a real journalist.
Right.
She sits there and she reads a teleprompter, but she's written a lot of those words. She knows the story behind the story, and a lot of newsreaders are underestimated. They've got a job to do. They have to be clear and concise. But I've worked in the trenches with Sandra, and she's the real deal. She's a real journalist.
Yeah, it's definitely. Do you follow any travel bloggers on YouTube?
Nope.
Interesting.
Why would I do that? I was the executive producer of The Amazing Race. I don't need to follow travel bloggers.
Oh no, I get it. I think the reason, and like I don't like falling under anyone's spell. I try and just like keep my shit about me.
Yeah.
And obviously, someone who has long form conversations with people, the more long form conversations I have, the more I realize I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because you go to all these crazy backgrounds.
I'm 63 and I don't know anything.
Yeah. And I think the thing that I get from like a famous Australian travel blogger is, and travel blogger is a bit of a woo-woo word. It's like a wide scope that covers a lot of...
You know what? I support them earning a living. I support anybody who encourages travel because cultural exchange is so important. I was in Port Moresby a week ago making a show about the 50 years of independence from Australia.
Yeah.
And I learnt so much just by being there and talking to people about the fact that Australia allowed Papua New Guinea, well, when I say allowed, Australia stepped away and Papua New Guinea was able to write its own constitution.
Right.
Right? Now you compare that relationship between Australia and Papua New Guinea to the relationship between the US and Japan after the Second World War, when the US wrote Japan's constitution for them so that they could never form an army again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a contrast there, isn't there?
Yeah. And the beauty of Papua New Guinea being able to write its own constitution is it supports now over 800 languages.
Right.
It's encouraged, whereas its neighbour, if we go all the way back to what I was talking about at the beginning, when we took the Tempest to Bali and Suharto was trying to outlaw language.
Yeah.
You know, I think any country that encourages diversity is to be applauded.
Yeah, well, definitely, as I learnt today from watching something on YouTube comparing Australia to China, China's like everyone, well, this particular city that this dude was in, everyone is constantly checked their ID, face scanned, voice recognition stuff, and it's like you...
And do you think that's not happening in America?
Oh, I believe it's happening in America. In contrast, it does happen in Australia where you can just jump on a train and go to Perth and do, you know... It
does happen in Australia. There is face recognition in Australia.
As in a police officer coming up to you, scanning your face, aligning it with your ID.
Oh, no, it's not that obvious. Yeah. But the fact is, facial recognition does exist here, and it's only going to grow.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think that's avoidable, and it shouldn't be a problem if you're living an honest life.
Are you living an honest life?
Not completely.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm 90% don't have to worry, I guess.
But the fact is, it's a fact of life.
Yeah.
Look, I think we get well and truly gaslit by countries like America. We are constantly hearing things like cheap Chinese product, right? That's racist.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, to throw any sort of good or bad describing word before the country, is putting your tone, your shadow on it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And so I think what is happening at the moment is people are waking up to the gaslighting that we've been seeing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a very interesting landscape going forward, particularly, with how little regard America has had for us as allies as we go into these tariffs.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we're starting to feel the ripple of that now.
Yeah.
Like I do a little bit of importing from China, and it's like you're starting to see even the way they communicate at the end of the transaction. You're like, oh, I thought we were friends, But I don't want to dive into that. I feel like there's a treasure trove of...
Yeah, look, I've only been to China a couple of times, and it's always been in transit when I was doing the Amazing Race.
Yeah.
And it is creepy when you land there and half your apps don't work.
Yeah.
That I can't support.
Yeah, you almost have to like put on the whole second life to... I've been to China once when I was younger and seen a heap of it in YouTube, especially this year, because went to Japan earlier this year, had my mind blown, and now I'm like looking at China going like, oh, that's sort of like next interesting sort of thing that I want to see. But the first, it's like you essentially just need a second phone. Like leave your phone at home when you get there, get your alley chat and blah, 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 and live that life,
I'm working on a format at the moment, and I can't go into too much detail because it's actually in market, we're pitching it. But the premise is actually supporting markets and handcrafts around the world.
Okay. Markets and handcrafts.
So markets, souks, bazaars, things like that are disappearing.
Yeah.
And the the reason I'm wanting to do this is I'm wanting to catalogue these skills and these cultures because they're disappearing in the face of Temu and Amazon.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And so, that's a program I'm working on now.
It's I know, like, I got some little handcrafted pottery, like espresso cups the other day. Well, the other day I got them like 18 months ago. And every time someone comes around and they want an espresso at mine, I've got the coffee machine and I give them these cups. Oh, these are amazing, and you're like, yeah, that's what something that's made with someone's hands looks like, And then you tell them, it cost me $60 a cup. And they're like, I can't believe it. It's like, but I paid $60 once and I have it forever.
I tell you what, where the idea came to me, it was I was in Ulaanbaatar in Mongolia, and I was at this amazing market, and this guy rode in on a horse, literally out of the desert. Yeah, took the saddle off, handed it to a saddle maker, went off and got the equivalent of McDonald's drive-through, which is probably the same meal that Genghis Khan did when he shopped there. Yeah, came back, put his repaired saddle back on, and rode out again. Yeah, wow. And I thought, nobody's going to see this anymore. Yeah, these skill sets are disappearing, and they need to be catalogued.
That feeling, like I buy new shoes for myself once every like 6 months because I'm, making it work as a creative, and I always freak out the first week I have the shoes because I'm like, if these break, I have to go and buy another pair of these shoes. I can't fix these shoes. You can't fix them for sure, but it's pointless. It's like putting rubbish back together. It doesn't make any sense.
It depends on the shoe.
I'm still old enough to remember,
That's because you're buying trainers.
Yeah, obviously I'm talking about like, and not to throw shade on any brand, but yeah, you're exactly right. It's because I'm buying trainers. But also I own a pair of Bloodstones that are like 2 years old now, right? Yeah. When I got my first pair of Bloodstones, when I was 13 years old, got a job as a stable hand. I'd polish them once a month. Yep. And those boots kept until my toes were pushed up at the end of them and I couldn't wear them anymore. Yeah. The Bloodstones that I've got now, it's like pleather. You can't polish it.
Okay, so I've got a pair of Timberlands. They've done 9 tours of Africa, probably four seasons of Survivor in Samoa and Fiji. They've done 4 races around the world on the Amazing Race, and I just keep getting them resold. They're my favourite boots.
Yeah. Well, do you run any RM Williams?
Yeah.
They're the same. They're like you can actually get them worked on, and it's the sort of thing you can take them to RM Williams and say, I just need the heel, I just need this. Yep, sweet, done. Elastics, whatever you want. I've luckily come across 2 pairs of RM Williams in my bloody size 13 at the Salvos, both of them under $100.
Oh, I love thrift shopping.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And people say, "Oh, you have 2 pairs of RM Williams." I'm like, I'm touched by God. I don't know. Tell me, with Amazing Race, Idol, Survivor, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here,
Rove
Live,
ARIA Awards, ACTA Awards.
What's a standout moment? What's something where you just obviously running into Guy Sebastian day one.
I tell you what, I hate the term cheap reality television. Okay. Because reality television costs way more than scripted to make, and it doesn't get any support. Right. So there nobody, none of the screen bodies that support production in this country put money into reality television, and yet it employs more Australian production crew than any other genre. Okay. Right. So that shits me. Yeah. I'm in a very fortunate position in that I've not once worked on a show in my career yet, and that's about to change, that has required any kind of government screen funding. Right. Every show I've worked on has been commercial and it's washed its own face. Yep. By washing its own face, I mean made a profit. Yeah. Or if it didn't make a profit, it rated so highly that it sucked advertisers into all the shows around it. So, shows like I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, they lose quite a lot of money, but they make money in the long run because they bring so much interest to the network. Right. To the point where at one point I was calling myself the head of not-for-profit at Network 10 because my shows weren't making money for themselves, but they were for everyone else, for the bigger picture. Yeah. And so, so where did that question start? What was the highlight?
Standout moment.
Yeah. Okay. I've got a few moments that are really important to me and I'm really proud of. One of them goes all the way back to that first season of Big Brother, where I did the celebrity version.
Yep.
So I cast Anthony Mundine in that season, who at the time was
Anthony Mundine, boxer.
A boxer.
Yeah.
He was a human headline. He is Aboriginal. He'd just converted to Islam, and people like A Current Affair were rolling him out to make inflammatory remarks that he believed in, but they were off colour for the Australian audience at the time.
Right.
I know that he's a much more sensitive, intelligent man than the sound bites that he was giving. And so I cast him in Big Brother, where there's nowhere to hide. You can only be yourself.
Yeah.
I also cast the first ever HIV positive person ever to go into a Big Brother house.
Wow.
And back then, it was a big deal.
Yeah, of course.
Because, these days you wouldn't even have to tell anybody.
Yep.
Back then, we had to warn the entire cast. So everybody had to go in the full knowledge that somebody in the house had HIV.
But not who exactly it is.
No, we had to say who it was.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Full disclosure.
But we sought that person's permission before we did it. Right?
Sorry, not cool as in that's...
So that person was... his character was Vanessa Wagner. He was a fantastic comedian and drag artist. And his real name is Tobin Saunders.
Right.
And it was incredibly courageous of him to do it. Because you think about this time, this is 2003, right? Or 2002, 2003, where there wasn't the therapies that could prolong life. They just weren't there. He was basically living day to day.
Yep.
And on the very first night, if you remember how Big Brother used to start, there would always be a big party and everybody would get drunk and it would all, everybody get to know each other and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's the very end of the night, and the two most unexpected people that would come together to sit and have a conversation were Anthony Mundine and Tobin.
Oh, wow.
So Tobin is taking off all the drag, taking the eye, it's turning from Vanessa Wagner into Tobin.
Yeah.
Right? And because Anthony knew about the HIV, he sat and he asked really intelligent questions, really sensitive questions, and listened. And I put that to air, absolutely unedited, nearly 6 minutes long, prime time Australian television.
Crazy.
At a time when that stuff wasn't talked about,
Yeah.
when Anthony Mundine was seen as a buffoon, when gay people were being beaten up all over the place.
Yeah.
And AIDS was a plague,
Yeah.
right? That piece of television I was incredibly proud of to be part of.
That's, I'm not letting it get to me because that is a powerful piece of dialogue to be able to be in a position, like your position is really interesting. Obviously, I perceive things from I need to create the thing. Yeah. I need to do the words. I need to ask the questions. When someone asks me a question, I need to answer and create the clip and, whereas you're in a position where you create the environment, let it sort of propagate into what it's going to turn into and then make that, as you said before, everything sort of fixed after the fact.
This is the other reason why I loved I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. The absolute highlight of my career was the conversations we were able to have about sobriety, about domestic violence, about depression, about suicide, all in prime time, all sugared, all the pills sugared with comedy and fun and all that kind of stuff. But the very best cheap reality television is thought-provoking and human, and it's like sitting in the mall and people watching on steroids.
Yeah, of course, because it's the best part of people watching, isn't it?
Yeah, and of course we put the best bits together.
Yeah,
and God, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here was the most exciting show you could possibly work on. My call time was 1:45 a.m. I would drive literally through the African bush, dodging kudu and stuff, get to work for 2 a.m., go straight into a screening of what happened yesterday,
Yep.
decide what's going into the show tonight, then work with the writers, and this is myself and several other producers, not all me, then work with the writers to work out where the comedy gold would be, where the poignant stories would be, all that kind of stuff. Then the hosts would turn up, we'd brief them, we'd have a screening of the stories that we'd cut from yesterday.
Yep.
Then we'd go into rehearsal, and then we'd go live, and then we'd do it all again.
How many years from start to finish you there?
So when people look at I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which looks as polished as MAFS or any other show, they've made it in 9 hours.
Wow.
And yet Survivor, MAFS, all those shows, 9, 10, 12 weeks in post.
Yeah, I was going to say they're definitely done way after. Hey?
Oh, yeah.
So what's your opinion on MAFS? Hit me with that.
Well, I actually think I have to say it's brilliant because my daughter works on it.
Oh, dude, that's not fair, dude. I want some dirt.
And also, the thing is, I just can't put down a show that's successful and still bringing an audience to free-to-air television because it's supporting the whole machine.
Look, I get it. Yes. Creatively, for the result that it brings, you're absolutely right. I can't stand it for more than a minute. Yeah, I sit on the couch, I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know?
Well, the thing about it for me is I can't believe they still call it an experiment.
Yeah. Good point. How many seasons is MAFS in?
Oh, God, I don't know. See, I've not worked for Channel 9. I was with 10 for 24 years. I'm now starting to work for other networks because I'm freelance again.
Yeah.
And so Jess's show, the one I just mentioned, Budget Battlers, that will be on 9.
Yep.
I do have something for 7, but they don't know about it yet.
Ooh.
I'll pitch it to them soon.
Nice. It's in the mail. All right, before I let you go, I got a question about creativity because obviously you're in a super creative space in a very specific sort of field.
No, I'm not.
No?
No, I'm off the leash.
Okay.
So I have been corralled for 24 years to only be allowed to work on entertainment and factual programs.
Yeah.
I'm off the leash. I'm working on international ballets.
Okay.
I'm working on 2 feature films.
Yep.
I've got 8 formats that are so different. I'm in a creative partnership with a brilliant man called David Nobe, who is ex Saatchi's and Droga 5 creative director.
Okay.
So he comes from an advertising background. I come from a very commercial television background. But between the two of us, we're now working on extraordinary projects. And we're just about to launch our company, which is called Favourite Child Studios.
Favourite Child Studios. Yeah, Matt mentioned this before.
Yeah.
I for the transparency of the audience, I met you literally 5 minutes before we sat down.
I didn't even know I was going to do this.
Do you want to do a podcast? Like, it's all set up. Let's do it, you know. It's crazy. Sorry, the question was, in the creative space, and I'm like a creative's apprentice bloody neighbour, you know, like I'm nowhere near an actual creative, but I still find there's this, you sort of live in a cloud, you know, like.
That's your block.
But this is the thing, like
the thing is you are a creative. Everybody's a creative.
Right. And the more you do it, you get this confirmation bias of like, well, I've done it for 5 years and it still works.
Yeah.
You know? And by cloud, I mean you can go in any direction, up, down, left, right, whatever you want, and it's only your imaginative scope that is the ceiling that you work within. How do you, obviously you've furthered that ceiling further and further away from you with these projects that have just got bigger and bigger and bigger. How have you allowed yourself to push the ceiling every time? What's that feeling and how do you achieve it, do you reckon?
That's a gut thing. When you get to a point where you lose your imposter syndrome, that's when your true creativity starts to flow. And also, the worst thing you can do is put yourself in an environment where you have to ask permission to be creative.
Yeah. I learned that early, hey?
Yeah. And so this is why podcasts are so brilliant. You can do anything. And this is why I've always loved radio so much.
Yep.
It's immediate, and you can say anything. You know, and it's live. There's nothing better than live. I am the most alive when I'm working on live television. That's my favourite thing.
I can imagine. That'd be a buzz.
Oh God, it is amazing. Like I worked on all of those Idol finales at the Opera House, right? They were all live.
Yeah.
And we had the Divinals performing, and we lost power, unheard of at the Opera House.
Yeah.
And there's just,
out the back pulling the generator again.
well, what actually happened is it was like the Jenny.
Yeah.
What actually happens is these days you have what's I think it's called a Degero or something. It's a massive battery.
Yep.
And what it does is when there's an interruption in the power, it automatically kicks in.
Right.
And so we're all sitting in the truck, and the Divinals are singing, and Chrissy's doing her stuff, and all of a sudden there's a tiny little dip of lights in the control room in the truck.
Wow.
And we didn't think anything of it, and then all of a sudden black, and we went off air for nearly 6 minutes.
Wow.
And it was the longest 6 minutes of my entire life.
I can imagine. You'd still be feeling it.
Everybody was standing up and yelling and blah, blah, blah. And there's something that just happens when you're in a situation like that. Some people don't. But what I do is I just go into this ice calm place.
Yeah.
And my voice, becomes very low, which means that it pulls people in rather than yelling. And I basically just said, right, when the power comes back on, because we all know it's going to come back on, we need Chrissy to be primed, ready to pick up the song where she left off.
Yeah.
And Osher and James just need to apologise to her afterwards, and then it's on with the show.
Yeah.
But it was one of those moments where you just thought, oh.
Yeah, you can hear your heartbeat in your
Or you
ears.
can just hear your career flash before your eyes.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast.
My pleasure as well. It was just completely a surprise. So I'm very honoured to have been asked.
Yeah, unreal. And this is obviously going to be on all the stuff that you probably don't want it to be on. It's on bloody Spotify, YouTube, Apple, blah blah blah.
Why would I not want it to be everywhere?
Well, you're like a representative of like the other side, aren't you?
No, I'm not.
No,
I'm off the leash, like I said.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, I guess you'd even be looking at making stuff that might be on like Netflix or.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This is why I'm feeling probably the most creative in my career. Because I'm completely
the blinders
free.
are off now. Yeah. Okay, I understand.
I'm not having to ask permission to create anymore.
Yeah. Now the next thing is you're going to feel like there's not enough hours in the day.
Oh, I already feel like that.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, be good to your mum because we're out of here.